Karla Schmit. I'm the Assistant Director of the Pennsylvania Center for the Book. And we'd like to thank the Pennsylvania School Librarian Association for their co-sponsorship of this award. It's been in existence for 18 years now, and this is the 5th year that PSL has been involved. This year's jury consisted of Rebecca K. Dotlich from Indiana, Janice Dysert, who's sitting over the table here from PSLA, Carol Sibley from Minnesota, Sylvia Bardell from Texas, and Dustin Brackbill from the Pennsylvania School Librarians Association, who served as this year's chair, and I'll turn it over for him to continue with the award.
Well, I've had the pleasure of spending the last year immersed in poetry. I literally measured myself last night and it came up to here. So it started out, I just get a couple boxes, a couple books, and then it would grow, and it would grow, and it would grow, and soon I wasn't sure what I was going to do with all these books. But they were wonderful, wonderful to explore, and I know the rest of my committee definitely loved every moment of it as well. I took them into school, took me 3 trips from my car to school, and shared them with the kids, and loved the experience of watching them interact with such a variety, such a depth, such unique books that they could explore. And so we talked about those. So, happy National Poetry Month, but I've had a poetry year and loved every moment of it. Eventually, of course, we had to whittle down this to this, and then that to this, and then, fortunately, down to these last few. And we are very pleased to have the same variety and the same depth and breadth in these selections, that we can really appreciate the wonderful poetry that's out there. We're very pleased to have our award winner, and she is with us today as well. And her collection reminds me that my clothes speak to me. When I put on my favorite pair of shoes, when I slide on my favorite coat, sometimes when I listen really closely to my closet, it tells me what to wear, not just me choosing. And I'm delighted that in this book we get to hear their voices for the first time, perhaps, where we actually hear what the clothing would say to the characters, to the children. And it's wonderfully illustrated as well with some unique animals. So we will show you a couple, and I will be very pleased to introduce our award winner this year, who is Alice Schertle. We are delighted to recognize Alice with a check from the Lee Bennett Hopkins himself and the committee, and as well as a beautiful clock book that is for you.
Thank you. Wonderful people at the Pennsylvania Center for the Book. And the Penn State University Libraries. And the Pennsylvania Wonderful School Librarians Association. Thank you, thrice wonderful judges, who had so many remarkable books of poetry to choose from this year. I'm honored to be in the company of Mary Ann Hoberman, Linda Watson, Betsy Franco, and Helen Frost. Thank you to a 1 in a million illustrator, Petra Mathers. To Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, my publisher, for their support, and most of all, thank you to Lee Bennett Hopkins. That warm and wonderful, sort of impossibly energetic, and incidentally, very funny man. Thank you, Lee, for your generosity and for your unfailing dedication to children and to children's poetry. I wrote the poems in But Not for a slightly younger audience than many of the poems that I have written. And writing for the very youngest audience is a great pleasure. It's a lot of fun. It's also a challenge. I think I can illustrate that with a story that those of you who have heard me may have heard, and it is Absolutely true. I was sitting in a park eavesdropping. I am an inveterate eavesdropper. I like to think of it as research. I overheard a conversation between two little boys. Don't know what their names were, but I'm going to call the slightly older one, looked like he was about 6, I'm going to call him Tom. And the littlest one was probably a 4-year-old. I'm going to call him Andy. They were kneeling down in the grass, staring at a very large grasshopper. Their conversation was this: Tom, don't touch it. Andy, why not? Tom, because it might freeze you. Andy, freeze you? You mean like a popsicle? Tom, yeah, you touch them and they freeze you. Andy, does your mommy still know you? Tom, she knows you, but you're freezed. Andy, can all grasshoppers do that? Tom, nope, just the freezers. Well, at this point, the grasshopper jumped, and the two little boys, startled, jumped too. To be honest, I jumped higher than anyone. Because I know a freezer when I see one. And that's the fun of writing for the very young. Because you don't have to convince them that their clothes can talk. They know that already. The challenge part comes in trying to discover the individual voices, the unique personalities of garments. I started out with shoes. We are Jennifer's shoes. We came home in a box. Now we go walking when Jennifer walks. When Jennifer walks, we step out too. One of Jennifer's feet per shoe. We are learning the ways of Jennifer's world, the way that Jennifer's toes are curled, the softness of carpet, the steepness of stair, the curve of the rung under Jennifer's chair, the hole in the heel of Jennifer's socks. We are Jennifer's shoes. We came home in a box. The next one is one that Petra really ran with. Birdie is quintessential cool. And Birdie's shoelaces are every inch as cool as he is. Love the mohawk. And who knew Birdie was an otter? Good old Birdie. He lets us hang around. It doesn't bother Birdie when we drag along the ground. We're not uptight, as our Birdie buddy knows. We're hang loose laces, and we don't do bows. Of course, we can't all be cool. Some are more infused with a strong sense of responsibility. Bob's on his bike, and I'm on Bob. I'm Bob's helmet. I'm on the job. Bob burns rubber. Bob climbs hills. Bob does wheelies. Bob takes spills. Bob skins his elbow. Bob scrapes his knee. Bob doesn't hurt his head. Bob's got me. And if someday the sky should fall, it will not hurt Bob's head at all. Bob's on his bike again. I'm on Bob. I've got him covered. I'm on the job. Life, of course, does doesn't always turn out exactly as we expect, so perhaps it can be understood if a note of disappointment, perhaps even bitterness, creeps into the voice of Tanya's old t-shirt. I live in a bucket, shoved under a stair. They call me a dust rag. I don't think it's fair. I'm still the same size as when I was new. I didn't shrink. It was Tanya who grew. She started out small and we fit to a T. Now she's big as a sofa. She's tall as a tree. She's out of control and they're dusting with me. You will never, not ever, hear anyone say, she's gotten too big, she's just in the way. Let's dust the piano with Tanya today. But for some clothes, the cup is always half full. And life is always good. I'm a hand-me-down sweatshirt with zipper and hood. I'm everyone's favorite and still looking good. I've been lost and recovered, been torn and been sewn, been dribbled on, tumbled in, rained on and blown. I started out Wendell's, was passed down to May. She passed me to Carly. I'm Andrews today. So zip up my zipper and pull up my hood. I'm a friend of the family, still looking good. The last one, who may be familiar to kindergarten teachers, probably would get the nod for most enthusiastic garment. I'm Bill's blue jacket. Everybody cheer. Bill's going to put me on. Bill's right here. Bill's going to take me off of the hook. Take me out, shake me out. How do I look? Arm in the left sleeve, arm in the right. Button up, button up, button up tight. Snap goes the collar under Bill's chin. Everybody holler, Bill's all in. Everybody clap your hands. Everybody shout, Bill's got his jacket on.